All right, let's review what we talked about yesterday with John chapters 1 through 4. With the Word and the God. Okay, the answer I was looking for mostly with those review questions was that the Word, when we say the Word, we mean the incarnate Word. Right? And that is Jesus. And that's what John is referring to when he says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. Okay? As Catholics, we believe in the Holy Trinity, right? Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And this is just John reiterating theologically, right, that Jesus, the incarnate Word, was with God in the beginning. Okay? And I told you guys the analogy we should think of, this is the best way we can kind of wrap our heads around this, is God, right, thinking of himself, right, and thinking about, and then actually speaking himself, right, when he speaks himself, right, basically him saying, I am God, that would be Jesus. So God is God himself, God thinking about himself is God, right, but God speaking himself is Jesus, the incarnate Word. And this is God's most visible form of his desire to reveal himself to us. We believe that as Catholics, that God desires to reveal himself to us, to draw us back into him. Right? And so this is God's way of doing this. With John chapter 2, the wedding at Cana, what you need to know is that the miracle at Cana is very intimately connected to the resurrection. This is Jesus asking Mary, are you sure you want me to start this? There's no turning back from this. Once I start performing these signs, things are going to get pretty wacky, Mom. So just make sure you know what we're doing. And then also the way he speaks to her. The only other time he speaks to her like that is at his death on the cross. So there's a connection there. With John chapter 3, that is the Samaritan woman, correct? I'm blanking for some reason. I'm getting them confused. Luckily, I have my Bible right here. Yes, indeed. Okay. John 3. Oh, I got them mixed up. Okay. John 3, we have Nicodemus. Okay, Nicodemus is meant to be a representative figure, symbolic figure of the Pharisees. Okay, and Jesus' words to Nicodemus is that he needs to be reborn spiritually. Okay, so Nicodemus, he comes to Jesus at night. He has lots of questions. He's kind of unsure of things, and he is really, his biggest hurdle is himself. He can't get over this belief that Jesus is the Son of God. He is the Messiah. All right? And Jesus speaking to Nicodemus is really Jesus speaking to all the Pharisees, saying, hey, you got to open up your eyes, man. Okay, and then John chapter 4, just last thing to review, the Samaritan woman. The Samaritan woman is another representative figure, a symbolic figure of all of the people of Samaria who have grown apart from the rest of the Jews. And these 5 husbands that the Samaritan woman has, they represent the 5 kingdoms that came in and conquered the northern tribes, right, the 10 northern tribes that separated from the 2 southern tribes. And Jesus is trying to regather all the tribes to himself, and he needs to do this through kind of a marrying analogy, right? He's going to marry the church. Right? The church is the bride of Christ. And so he's bringing back all the tribes together. That's why he's going to a well, right? To marry a woman, to marry all the tribes of Israel. So he's going to Jacob's well in particular. Right? So that is the review. Let's go ahead and move on with John chapter 10.